Pluto, a planet that has basically been bullied out of being a regular planet, forced into a dwarf planet description by the giants that we know as Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, all these gigantic bullies. For such a beautiful little planet, clocking in at under -400 degrees Celsius, for a surface basically covered in liquid nitrogen for snow, you would think that Pluto would be able to push back a little bit, to actually fight for its right to be a normal planet. Well, I do love sci-fi for myself, and with this new little book called SPECTRO by Doze, we actually get a little bit of a taste of this. We get to see Pluto wreak vengeance for itself after watching all these different planets basically disavow its existence, telling it, no Pluto, you will never be like us. You were not able to pass all 3 of the tests. You are not able to push the debris out of your gravitational field. We actually get to see Pluto rise up like a phoenix, coming in with stealthy dismay, and just an all-around interesting story indeed. SPECTRO is a sci-fi book filled with 4 different short stories. It's something I highly recommend. Each tale is very different, and they all kind of come in from a different futuristic approach. One being a story about a man who is trying to lose weight, connected to this all-powered weight loss AI, and actually getting a glimpse of his life of what it would be like if he did, with the next being about a billionaire trying to reach the highest peak on Mars. I found this one to be the coolest. It shows us all these different planets sitting around at a meeting, and they're actually about to discuss how Pluto is about to be excommunicated. And in the midst of this, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea that Pluto has actually snuck in, and is about to show them what a real planet can do. Thank you all for gathering on such an important occasion. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune. In the order of business at hand is Pluto, and we're seeing the planet Pluto laying down on the table. It has no humanoid being holding its place, and they've actually straight up just not invited it at all to this little communion. And we see them all sitting down at this table with this naked girl sitting on top of it with a bunch of sushi on top of her. We, the Order of the Planets, are a centuries-old union that exists to advance and protect the discoveries of science. Today, we gather to finalize a critical decision regarding one of our esteemed members. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our venerated patrons, the Society of the Sun, for this marvelous meal they prepared for us. And as they all sit round on this table, we see Earth heading up the speech of this entire thing, telling everybody about the great inventors of science throughout the creation of mankind, from Galileo all the way to Johannes Kepler, the man who actually published the first laws of planetary motion. And basically what this entire meeting is all about is just to make sure that all these scientists are able to continue their research. They begin to talk about how great scientists were lost to plagues, to the Dark Ages, and how sometimes science just led to the ultimate destruction of these people to begin with bombs and weapons and all these different terrible things, and that how now this time of great scientific discovery, nothing has ever been better. The ascension of the scientific method has brought us to great heights, and our cadre exists to advance and protect these discoveries, to assassinate any affront from those of the League with ignorance. For 75 years, the crown of Pluto has been worn by the best conscripts our order has ever produced. We all know what an asset Pluto has been to us, how ruthless and efficient she was in her role. And from this point, things just kind of start getting a little confusing. I'm not really sure if we're talking about planets or we're just talking about a secret society that wears planets on their head, representing each different planet. We are seeing this young lady. She's going on these hit missions. She's taking out all these different individuals that would dare to defy scientific discovery. People that would push us back into the Dark Ages and stop all new discoveries and inventions from ever being born. And as they're going on admiring Pluto for her set of skills, her ability to take out all these individuals, they say that she must be excommunicated. They begin to talk about how these new metric systems and all these new rules have just come out, and it means that Pluto will no longer be defined as a normal planet, and that because of this, Pluto is no longer recognized as a member of their group. And as they are looking down at this girl on the table, Earth raises his hand, and he says Pluto must be extricated from our group, her files completely erased, and no longer will she ever be a part of this foundation. Well, as he's holding up his hand, we see these 2 swords coming out from nowhere. We see his fingers chopped off, and in one fellow sweep around the table, we're seeing exposed neck holes. We're seeing tongues separated from jaws. We're seeing every single one of these planets be decapitated without even a chance for a rebuttal. And who this actually is Pluto herself, getting her utter revenge. And as all these dead bodies lay down on the floor, we just see this young naked woman pick up the planet off the table. She puts it on, and she says, I may no longer be a planet, but I still exist. And that is the end of the story. It's a very wacky little one. Like I said, I was a little confused on what exactly was actually happening. happening, if these people aren't actually the planets that we're talking about, or if they're just members of this weird secret society that kind of represents each one of these planets. But it remains to be a very interesting story. It's kind of nice to see Pluto taking revenge for herself and no longer being the bully dwarf planet that she is now. Something we've seen so much in media with Rick and Morty and just all sorts of different kinds of shows and books, and I just thought it would be nice to see. So tell me what you guys all thought. Like I said, this comes from a small book called SPECTRO. It's got a bunch of different sci-fi short stories in it that I thought were very good and very interesting, especially the one about the man trying to climb the highest peak on Mars, being a very Elon Musk type of character with just unlimited amounts of money, trying to reach the next point of glory, and something that will allow him to live forever. Because although he does have a lot of the money in the world, he can't actually buy time with that. And what he actually does to do this is very good. And also the last story included about a spaceship heading to a new planet with a virus kind of infecting everybody in it. SPECTRO remains to be just a very unique small book, and a very cheap one. It's about $6 for this giant boy. It's got a very cool cover art, and it's actually by Aftershock, a company that I know does a lot of different one-shots, and a few that I actually do own. And it's been a comic book company that I've actually kept my eye on. So maybe pick this bad boy up for yourself if you did enjoy that story. And thank you all for watching. It is the new year, and with all these holidays going on, I haven't had any chance to record, so I'm feeling a little bit rusty. So give me a video or two to get caught back up with myself to get back in the rhythm of the motion. And thank you all so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day.